So this is a new one. We've got a scam coming from Africa, and it doesn't involve cryptocurrency, which is wild. They usually do. So African influencer charged in romance scam stole SHS 7 billion from victims, which is apparently around $2 million US. So pretty successful scam, to be honest. Romance scam, if you don't know what that is, essentially they just convince people that they're trying to be in a romantic relationship with them and then get them to send them money. And of course, would probably be doing this to multiple people. Usually, it's not an actual real woman doing this. It's usually a guy just catfishing, typically pretending to be an Asian lady, if you see any of the ones on Twitter going around at the moment. There's some good YouTube channels out there that basically chronicle this and speak to actual victims, get them on camera to tell their story, and then find the person whose face that they're using and get them in contact with them, as well as, of course, out the fact that it is definitely an actual catfish. I do think this is going to get worse as time goes on because AI is obviously going to play a factor. You'll be able to just create a human and use that to steal from people. And you'll probably be able to use video and voice, which, of course, right now are limiting factors because most people would say, if I can't hear you, if I can't see you in live real time, I'm not going to send you any money because you're probably a dude or not real. Well, what happens when you can essentially just create a person, have them go on video, or use filters which are already quite advanced, which make you look and sound like a woman? And then you too can steal money from people that are down astronomically bad. So influential Ghanaian musician and socialite Mona Fayez Montrage, formerly known as Hajia for Real, has been extradited to the US and charged with a $2 million romance scam. So her music career was probably not going amazingly well if she was stealing money from people online, trying to pretend to be in a relationship with them. But obviously, Gucci down to the flip-flops, so going amazingly. A criminal enterprise she allegedly belonged to targeted lonely American men and women, then in one instance fake married to one victim to further her scheme. How are you fucking doing that? How are you getting married from Ghana to the US, having never met each other? That's crazy, bro. Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, in a statement indicated she had been charged with several counts, including conspiracy to commit fraud and money laundering. She could receive a maximum sentence of 20 years in jail for each count if found guilty. Obviously, you're never going to see somebody get found guilty and given 20 years for each count. Generally, you'd not even see somebody get 20 years for the totality of doing this, even if found guilty on all of them. It does just make me laugh that it's always person from X country extradited to the US. Even if they don't perform crimes that necessarily target American citizens, it's just like, alright, you're in America now, you're going to prison, the federal government's got you. But considering she was targeting lonely American men and women, I guess it's actually fitting this time. She was also charged with conspiracy to receive and the receipt of stolen money, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 and 10 years respectively. I wonder what that's about then. Was she getting paid by criminals? Down bad criminals. 30-year-old was arrested on November 10th last year in the UK, then extradited to the US on Friday. Got him. Alleged tricks. The unsealed indictment said Hajia for Real, in pursuit of her alleged scam activities, committed offences, including opening multiple bank accounts in the US for the receipt of payments from her victims. It's not really the biggest crime, is it, opening US bank accounts? On or about September 15, 2016, Mona Fayez Montrage, the defendant, opened a business bank account in the name of For Real Designs in the Bronx, New York. On or about November 1st, 2018, she received into account 2 check deposits from a romance scam victim, totaling at least approximately $195,000. Man. I mean, you know, I can see why. I can see why they've done this in a way. But in the same way, you're not going on social media seeing somebody like this and being like, yeah, she's definitely going to marry me from Ghana if I give her 200 grand into a bank account right now. But you do have to have sympathy for people like this, because while it is stupidity, it's idiotic to think any of this is real. At the same time, they usually target older people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that have money. Not always a lot of money. Like $195,000 sounds like a lot. But I've literally read and watched videos about this where people have bankrupted themselves. They've sold their house and are now living in like their ex-wife's car or something to give money to somebody who they've never spoken to on a phone, that they've only text messaged, they've never seen this person live, and they've just give them their entire life, basically. And of course, these people don't give a fuck because they have no moral compass whatsoever. They're just happy to be getting paid, and they're doing this to multiple people at the same time. So it is stupidity to think that this is real, but at the same time, they are going after the most vulnerable, the loneliest people, again, usually older. They're just over the better years of their life, and they're lonely, and they want something, and this is how they're going to try and get it. And it's always a scam. It always is. There's easier ways to go about this. Obviously not going to go into detail on that one for the sake of the video, but paying people who you have never met online is not a good one. So she pleaded not guilty. She pleaded not guilty to all charges when she appeared before a judge on Monday. You're getting fucking turned for that one. US authorities have expressed concern about romance scams targeting older people and expressed the need to hold perpetrators to account. Yeah, of course. Especially when it's this big. $2 million. I mean, she got 200 grand from one person. I'd love to know how long it takes, like how much effort do you have to put into one person to grift them, put in that graph to get 200 grand out of them. Because obviously this is a way, way better paying job than what you would typically be able to get in Ghana. In most places in the world, $2 million. So she's alleged to have been part of a criminal enterprise in West Africa that defrauded companies and individuals, including romance scams in the US between 2013 and 2019. So I made a video not super long back on the main channel about the Yahoo Boys, which sounds like a weird name. But it is exactly what it sounds like. Essentially, it was, I believe, Nigerian. I think that's the nickname for scammers, internet scammers in Nigeria, Yahoo Boys. And I did one specifically about Hush Puppy, who was one of the most famous ones, who is now sitting in a US prison after being extradited from Dubai a couple of years ago. And the Yahoo Boys, the name comes from using Yahoo email accounts and using Yahoo in general, where because obviously there wasn't a lot of opportunity for jobs, some specific scams all come back to Nigeria. And it would be these groups of people, the Yahoo Boys, who essentially would iterate upon them, and they'd have whole groups that would do this specific scam. And then once that one started getting policed quite a lot, they'd move on to another. They'd also do romance scams. They do all the classics, the phishing emails. But the really smart ones would target businesses, specifically people on social media who said that they worked in finance of certain businesses, and then try to email them with just random, social engineering of like, oh, you've not paid this invoice. Could you pay it as soon as possible? And then send a random invoice and see if they could get them to pay it. Things like that, or they'd somehow hack into, usually with phishing, somebody's email address, hopefully somebody who was some part of finance or accounting in a company, and then they'd hope they could get an invoice pushed through with bank account details that they'd changed. And they almost got a United Kingdom Premier League football team to pay them $100 million. Like, it's real big time. They're stealing millions of dollars each time that they do these. So it is just interesting to see. So that's why I'm talking about this West African criminal enterprise that have been doing this since 2013 and doing it up until 2019. I think statistically, and I'm not sure how true this is now, but for this period of time, I know obviously India now has a lot of scams because of call centers and things like that, and we've seen how prevalent they are. I think during this period of time, West Africa and specifically Nigeria accounted for a massive percentage of wire fraud and online scams. Although, of course, 95% of the time, it's just dudes saying, I'm this woman and I love you a lot and, you should come and marry me, but I'm having some real bad problems right now. I love you, baby. Can you send me a couple grand? And then people do. But this time, it was an actual woman, a woman who's going to federal prison for probably a real long time due to this. But there we go, a different scam this time. No mention of cryptocurrency, because they're targeting old people, and old people don't know fuck all about technology. So there we go. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.